Meeting of the Commission on Sustainability to order. Our first order of business will be a roll call. Fonda Owens? No. Jeff Matusik? He's here. Lucas Cromer? Absent. Me? Here. Ty Miller? Absent. Zach King? No. Here. Devin Hunsberger? Here. Lauren Huffman? Here. Tucker King?
Here.
Thank you. Zach, do you have meetings of the previous, do you have minutes of the previous meeting to look at?
No minutes from last month.
No, I mean,
no meeting.
yeah, we didn't have a meeting last month. We had a summer break.
Yeah, I can pull up the ones, last month was July from June?
Is there, has everybody seen them through an email or anything?
Sure I did, but that was.
So, did you, I think you had them sent out, didn't you?
Yeah, I sent them
have
out.
them somewhere.
I'll pull them up right now.
Okay. Seems like I printed it out.
All right. Old business we went over last meeting, tree donations, planting plan for the tree grant coming, U.S. Forestry grant, I'm sorry, I can't read or talk today. Student liaison to be selected by the high school. CPRG solar grant. Website copy being approved. Climate action plan, we were to have read and review that. Charging stations for electric vehicles, lake treatment, and then the new business was water sustainability for future development and finding tree funding partners.
Let's move forward. I want to ask Tucker, do you have any updates on the energy grants?
Yeah, so I gave a kind of a short one. So last month, obviously, we kind of fumbled the ball a little bit. The CPRG grant was awarded by EPA out to the states. Only 32 states received funding. The states that received funding received full funding. Indiana was not one of those states. So we didn't receive any funds for it, sadly. We're looking at maybe another grant that's kind of in the same vein to help us at least meet some of the original intent of our first application, but we were not selected. I mean, we were selected by the state, but IDEM didn't receive any funding from EPA, so we didn't get any money.
We had previously talked, and Ty had mentioned, are these the energy grants that we're going to do solar and wind, or are those a different grant? That
It was all solar panels. So we had, I think,
on the different properties.
5 sites selected. It was a $10 million grant application. We're hoping that we can still get the ones for resiliency, which would be related to the fields at the water department, and then potentially the one to help with the solar fleet charging station we were talking about. But as of right now, we don't have a funding source for it, so it's kind of been put on the shelf in the meantime.
So it'll be awaiting the next funding opportunity potentially.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. They funded half the states the first time, and maybe they'll do a second round, and we'll be on that second
So
round.
this is federal money going to the states, then going to us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
always competitive.
Yeah.
I think we talked about everybody taking a look. Has everybody had a chance to take a better look at the community action plan to see if there are areas of fascination? Devin, do you
No,
have a copy?
I still haven't, I never got a copy of
Okay,
it.
don't we have the
so.
digital copy posted on the site?
I had thought we did, but when I went to review it last month, it was not a full copy.
Okay, so maybe we can work to get that. And I guess I'll ask back at Tucker.
Yeah.
What's the status? I know that we had to do some signing, we did something to get it submitted, to get it finalized. Do you know what the status of that is? It was supposed to go back to be completed by,
I'll be honest with you, I'm not current on it. It kind of fell on the back burner for me. I can look into it and confirm that it's all good. I'm pretty sure I got it in front of Nick and that we got it all approved. It's just been 2 months since I looked at it last, I'll be honest with you.
okay.
As far as having a full copy for everybody, I can make sure that I send that out via email
Yeah.
at least, and then we'll all have access to it.
That'd be great. Devin, do you like to have a paper copy or?
Yeah,
digital?
preferably paper, just to have it.
I
If you
know,
have one, that'd be great.
I like having mine this way. It's getting kind of dog-eared, but it's nice to be able to page through it and
Yeah,
make notes. so.
absolutely.
Okay, so whoever needs it, we'll get whatever format they like,
Okay.
so.
Going back to the old business, there was another, the tree planting plan. We did, at last Board of Work section, got it approved for us to go out for bid on the tree planting plan for the fall tree planting. We're looking at slotting 80 trees. We also finished our tree re-inventory for the street trees for our U.S. Forestry grant. I have some numbers available. We have about 5,560 active trees within the inventory, and of those, about 972 of them are going to have to be removed in a short period of time. It's about 17% of the inventory. So with the money that we have slotted for planting, about $240,000, we're going to be able to replace about half of those. But that means we'll still have about 8% of our inventory not being put back after the end of the project. So I've been looking at other funding sources to match that, and make it so that we're at least back to where we were.
Do you know when we're going to be able to work with the Rotary on the planting from their gift on the planting of the flowering trees or whatever?
Yeah, so now that we have, that separate from the fall planting, those funds are within the tree donation fund that we created. Now that we have finished getting kind of the RFP process started for the larger planting, I'm hoping that we can move forward on the Rotary Club planting soon. I talked with Phil, and I think I'm going to put it out for bid on this one, just so that we give everyone the option to kind of go on it. We have a few different certified arborists who've been in contact with us, curious about different projects we're doing. So it'd be nice to give everyone kind of a shot on it.
And have they arrived at what tree was best for that purpose, do you know? Did Phil recommend a tree for what Rotary is, what we were
I
trying
think
to accomplish?
we were looking at flowering dogwoods and, I can't think of the other one now. But there were 2 or 3 species of flowering trees that we thought would fit well.
Excellent.
I know in DC, they're moving away from the cherry blossoms and moving towards flowering dogwoods, from my understanding as well. So it kind of has that same character as what they're doing anyways. Same time period, that kind of deal.
So
Excellent, thank you.
Tucker, you'd mentioned that we needed to find some funding source, right, to replace the other 8% of those trees.
Yeah.
I know we had an action item from our last meeting in June to identify, corporate community sponsors.
Yeah.
Is that something we can just list off now? Like, let's start naming companies?
Yeah.
that we want to talk to?
I think that's a great idea. I think another thing that we could do as a committee, maybe if we did a working session soon, would be come up with like a flyer or essentially like a letterhead. I forgot what you'd call it, like a block text that essentially kind of is the pitch that we all kind of have agreement on, and then all of us to start reaching out to our contacts or whatever. I don't know.
Got it. We could send out flyers.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Print all this paper to replace the trees.
Yeah.
I can read it.
Well,
Yeah.
it gets basically a statement of what our goals are, what we're trying to do, and of course, with the number of trees you're gonna have to take down, boy, we've got a task to replace those to do what
Yeah.
we want the trees to do. So that having that grant that you received, that you applied for and we got, is gonna help tremendously.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the opportunity. And it's really nice having the re-inventory finished, because we actually have real world numbers to go off of now. It's a really good snapshot of what we have currently. And so it makes it a lot easier for me to budget it all and try to get it handled.
Well, if anybody has any doubt about how much good the trees do us today, go out in the middle of a field or sit under a tree today, and I think you know which choice is better. So I think that's huge that we're gonna be able to we have the inventory. I saw that a couple weeks ago, doing the inventory on Michigan Avenue. And, I mean, you can see there are a lot of trees that need to be replaced.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have too big a gap between cutting down and replacing. So, thank you. Let's try to see what some of our other items were. I think that working session would be good between the next one, so that we can maybe that would be a good topic for for us to talk about, is getting that document together.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think administratively, we just have some we gotta clean this thing up a little bit, you know, I love our monthly meetings, but I think we all kind of get frustrated that we don't have a steady roll in progress, you know? So it would be nice to do an administrative session, get everything kind of under wraps, and maybe identify some short-term gains we can make, you know?
We have to find things we can accomplish without a budget, basically.
Yeah, essentially, right?
So I think it's to set some direction and for our sustainability.
Yeah.
And I think we can still do that. I think one of the things when I was looking at, of course, the community action plan is all these different ways to reduce our carbon footprint or the greenhouse gases. And so I think from interdepartmentally with this, for us as a group, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't know how you all feel about interviewing, maybe as a working session or in one of interviewing some of the department heads about how they perceive their role going forward, you know, and how they can make a difference at their departments. I know wastewater, Jerry's been a big energy savings, you know, with the solar field, and we've done some efficiencies that were completed at the water department, but there's a lot to be done to get where that community action plan needs to, you know, take us. It's very detailed and very, it's full of information, so.
Yeah.
I guess we'll make that assignment again as if everybody, so we can get everybody a copy of it and then everybody get familiar and come back with things that they, you know, out of it that they think we can achieve.
Yeah.
And kind of stage these things in order, so.
Yeah, especially, yeah, I like the idea of identifying like in-house fixes, you know, like I think that's pretty easy for us to do, you know?
Yeah, I think the people that are gonna know that best are the people running those departments, so I think that'll
Yeah.
be a process we can undertake.
Lauren, you'd mentioned bringing up community partners at the city council meeting.
You can do that if you want to prepare something before Tuesday, or, oh, sorry. If you want to prepare something before Tuesday and send it to me via email, or if you want me to just mention it that we are looking for community partners, however you prefer.
I don't think it's likely that we'll have the working session before next Tuesday, so
Sure.
maybe just mentioning that we're looking for community partners. And taking ideas.
Well, since we did take over for the tree commission, I think there's definitely a role for us that's got a path already. People have been doing that for years, and now you're kind of the city's person in charge of that?
Are you,
I
would you
don't
be the
wa-
contact person for that, Tucker?
I don't
For any
want to call
community
myself
partners?
the tree, because I technically don't have any real administrative control over our tree crew. Like I'm not anyone's boss or anything like that, but I do feel like the tree steward, so I don't mind. Yeah, I'll definitely take the emails on that.
You and the forester, and then our street department and the city engineer, I
Yeah,
suppose, are the.
it's a group effort, you know? Yeah, but I'll definitely triage those calls for sure.
Tucker, do you have any updates on anything else within your department or the city on?
I'm trying to think. We haven't really made any progress on the Youth Conservation Corps portion of the tree grant. I know that was something we had on the docket. We've been wrapped up in a lot, especially last month we didn't get to talk about it. We had that tornado event that came through and caused a lot of tree damage for us. So I was kind of all hands on deck for that, doing insurance claims and all that kind of stuff for a while. I'm hoping that once things kind of slow down, we get out of construction season and move into the winter mode a little bit, I'll be able to focus on starting to get that set up for maybe summer of next year, depending on what funding looks like and everything like that.
Along the same lines, have you heard anything from the Porte Community Schools for a liaison from the high school for this group?
Okay, we spoke about it, but it never really moved on from that point. It
Okay.
kind of, I think the Youth Conservation Corps and the liaison portion both kind of got wrapped in together. And that liaison, like you're talking about, is a separate position where they would just be sitting here, essentially.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it sounded like when we left off that somebody at the high school was appointing that person for us.
Yeah, that's how it was previously, from my understanding, and I think that would be pretty easy for us to pick up on, especially now that schools start. I mean, we went back 2 weeks ago now.
Weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we can make that happen.
Okay.
I'll make a note to follow up on that.
Is that something that one of us could do?
Yeah, if you guys want to.
take that off your
Honestly,
plate.
the more you guys could take off my plate, the better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the liaison, what you're talking about, Zach, I guess, what was that related to? I kind of,
Student liaison from the Porte Community School Corporation. Something we talked about again in June. We didn't know previously if that student needed to be assigned to us, or if we would contact and like just have a group of kids come in, or what that looked like. But finding out that in the past, somebody at the high school, and I forget our point of contact's name, would assign that student for us, and I think we just need to get in contact with that.
Yeah, it was essentially like a non-voting member from the high school who
Yeah.
hopefully brought the youth aspect of sustainability, right?
yeah, and maybe we'll end up presenting something to them, or they, vice versa. So-
Yeah.
Does anybody recall the name of our contact at the high school?
I'll go back through my email.
Cool.
Jeff, I guess, how are the lakes?
I'm sure you guys all heard about the fish. The problem with the fish, with the natural die-off. A couple of weeks ago, the temperature has been so warm with the lake. And all of a sudden we had the change in the clouds and the temperatures cooling off at nighttime, and the drastic quick change of the water temperature from the low 80s into the 70s. It causes a natural fish die-off, which takes away some of the oxygen, and we probably had 200-300 fish floating around on the shores. There was everything from bluegill to bass. We had, I saw northerns, walleyes out there. I saw some catfish. A little of everything was kind of floating around. So I contacted the DNR to make sure there wasn't a problem. They came out with EMA, take a look to test the lake and stuff to make sure nobody put any chemicals in there. They asked if we had tested the lake, if I treated the lake for the milfoil, but we hadn't done anything to it. So they came up with, that's what it was just a natural die-off, which does happen on lakes, which I've known that can happen. I've never seen it.
Well, we're pretty lucky with the activity on the lakes and the depth and everything, that we're not experiencing some of those toxic algae issues. Some that I've seen that's terrible. I mean, there's so much overgrowth of it right now that you can't even use can't even work
Yeah.
off the shoreline. I mean,
I had aquatic weed control came out and did a test, or checked Pine and Stone Lake for milfoil, which we can treat for, and checked it for that harmful stony wort that's on some lakes. We don't have that on, and we don't have enough milfoil from the tree to do a second treatment, so our treatments are working really good, and the lake
Great.
is super clean. So that's good news. And our next meeting for association and aquatic weed control is gonna be to talk about it, all their findings and everything with their biologist on September 11th at Huber's, 6 o'clock.
September 11th.
Other than that, everything's going good.
Excellent. Well, the lakes are a big part of LaPorte, so I think having them in our discussions and in our management.
An idea for us, maybe something we can do, whether we do it this year or in the spring, is we do a lake cleanup for the Lake Association. Maybe something we could get involved with, also sponsoring, the sustainability committee, putting together and getting some people together. And
Are you talking about that for this year yet, for a fall or something? Or are you talking
sometimes we
something
do it in
next-
the fall, but, we usually do it in October. But we just go around the lake shores and stuff, cleaning up and picking up, and we just do it on a Saturday morning, and it only takes a couple hours. And
Well, as that firms up, I may bring us the official, in the September meeting, so that we can
yeah,
target that for some participation. Fonda, thank you for coming. Do you have anything to?
Just a question, I apologize for being late. Oh, sorry,
It's in the middle.
yeah, I should know that. So, no, I apologize for being late. I was just thinking about the, asking for people interested in, supporting the tree fund. So, I think at one time, several months ago, because this would have probably been last year, I'd done some work around other communities that have an actual formal program for that. and they have it designed on their website. I think I still have all that. So, if you want, I could work on that a little bit and draft sort of a procedure or what would go on the website or a form or whatever, so that you don't have to continue to do that work, and just bring it back, maybe for the September or October meeting, if that's okay with everybody.
that'd be
Since
great.
I've looked into it, I think I still have the links and the emails and the sites that I looked into.
So we can model it after one that's already worked.
Yeah, we don't have to reinvent anything, because when you start looking at them, they're all pretty similar, but they talk about how to get corporate funding or have a community partner, that sort of, like, it's templates for ways to get involved, whether it would be having an Arbor Day or Earth Day event, or give money for the planting of trees. So
Well,
happy to work on that if you'd like.
that would be great, and Tucker, I think, so you said the inventory's been done,
Yeah, it-
revised inventory has been drafted, or has been, the work has been, field work has been,
Yeah, so we finished the re-inventory. To Fonda's point, I think, I really like the idea of targeting an Arbor Day event next year. If we start planning now, I think we could get a spring planting plan together that we could incorporate these community funds into, and I think that would be, I think it would be really good for our community. We need to, I think we need to celebrate Arbor Day more. I think it's something that, we have such a beautiful tree canopy, urban forest, whatever you want to call it, and everyone appreciates the trees, and we have to start reinvesting in them now if we're going to keep them around another 100 years. So I think the more people we get involved with it now, the better it'll be.
I think having the new updated inventory, then we can approach them with, here's the data, here's what trees LaPorte has, and how many are in good shape, bad shape, have to be replaced. Like you said, they've got, how many they have to come down, probably?
So we have 5,500 trees, 70% of them are maple trees, 971, I do believe, need to come down, about 17.5% of our inventory, I do believe, if I remember correctly. And then we have another like 400 or 500 that need to be pruned in the next year or so as well. I wish our tree crew could handle all that,
Yeah,
but we don't have unlimited funds, so we're working on it.
Fonda, I don't know that you need to do all of that on your own. We were talking before you got here about a working session in a couple of weeks. Is that something that you want to work with as a group?
Well,
Look
I never
at-
intended to do it on my own.
We could
I
actually,
only intended to bring some like preliminary things for consideration.
well, we could make it
I
easy.
misunderstood.
No.
Well, we could
No.
make it easy for you and come to the library and have our working session or something.
Sure.
She's
I mean,
got-
we could, because we have the meeting rooms, and that would be fine. You just need to let me know some dates that work for the group, and I can make match that up with our reservations.
I think they were talking 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle between now and the next meeting. But I think, Tucker, this is now, this is good. We're gonna plan for Arbor Day now, or, start it
Yeah.
now, so we can really maybe have the best Arbor Day ever.
Yeah, exactly.
So is the tree inventory available as a public document?
I am working on that. So I have a map that I've created, and I'm hoping to get it put on the web soon. And through that map, you'll be able to have access to all of the tree information. And then from there, I would eventually do some infographics about the different statistics about the tree inventory, or I guess the different species and all that other stuff. Yeah. It's pretty interesting, honestly. So I hope I will have something available soon.
Of those 80 trees that you mentioned, are any of those, I remember a couple of months ago, we talked about trees along the Chestnut Trail.
Yes.
Is that separate, or is that?
Yeah, that's rotary planting we talked about.
Okay.
Yes. Those from the rotary were particularly set aside just to be like flowering type species that would beautify around the Chesapeake and I think Clear Lake Loop. So, we have an idea of where the trees will go. It's just now we have to get them sited and purchased. I'm hoping we can do that this fall. But if not, it might be a springtime type event. We just finished the inventory, so I was hoping to talk to our arborist a little bit about it and get it all figured out.
Red Meadows, was that the other tree?
Yeah, Red Meadows, yeah. I couldn't remember, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
We came through.
Yeah.
I think when we go back to just change the subject a little bit back to the climate action plan, you know, that's really heavy on reduction of greenhouse gases, but that sounds like, but everything we do, it resulting in greenhouse gases, so it's a modification of behavior and all that kind of stuff, and I know we know one of the big upcoming projects is Microsoft.
Yeah,
But I think we have the same approach to all upcoming developments.
Yeah.
How you use water, how much of it's just gonna go downstream, you know, water energy use is the whole thing. So I think, when we talk about this big client or this big project coming up, there's all the others are going on all the time too, so.
No, I think that to tie both of them together, I think having a hardy urban tree canopy helps us to mitigate. I mean, it sequesters a lot of carbon, also slows down stormwater from entering our stormwater system and allows it to stay in place, hopefully. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about the evapotranspiration off in cornfields, but our tree canopy evaporates tons of water every day, you know? So, that's partially why it has so much cooling. So I can't go on enough about the benefits of the urban tree canopy. When it comes to new development, I agree. I think one of the places that I see the Sustainability Commission succeeding for the city of Porte is helping us to find ways that we can, I don't want to use the word impose, but work with our partners in the community to develop a sustainable mode of building or development, something that actually suits us for the future instead of, because right now we don't have any kind of site development permitting. I think site development permitting is something that can be focused on sustainability, especially when tied in with MS4. I mean,
I think we can.
all of us are kind of tore up about the forest that got taken out behind the IMR, but the city had no say over that. Someone's owned the property, you know. So we had some kind of site development process and MS4 process that worked through the Sustainability Commission. I think that might be something that would help us out, making sure that the projects that occur here are good for the future and the environment.
I think we can help put together maybe a checklist for the site review process that kind of dedicates a certain amount of space to those yes and no's, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, what are you gonna do about this? And of course, now that people are paying more for stormwater too, it's more important that they want to do it in a way that it doesn't cost them too much. But I think site review is a good, and so maybe we can have a questionnaire or a checklist that we use to evaluate.
I know when we look through those site reviews, at least I get copies of it, they do have, here's our shrub plan, here's our tree plan, here's our, so I mean, I don't look too much at that, but I know that it is at least in when we do site plans, that kind of thing.
Usually a site, yeah.
More the plans, they'll send them, like I said, I don't know that everybody gets that portion of it, but I know that I get it.
But I think there are some requirements for site development that we already have, like for greenery.
Yeah, for zoning purposes, but I don't know if any of it has a sustainable backbone. I think that's kind of where we could come in and
Modify it a bit.
yeah, improve it so that it was focused more on making sure, like not just for beauty's sake, but for the sake of the environment that these things occur, right?
So, just a question, I probably should have asked this a long time ago, but I'm going to ask it now.
Yeah.
Now we're being broadcast, so I'll ask it now, so everybody knows. So, MS4 just deals with stormwater and how you're gonna handle stormwater runoff. When you're talking about permitting, that's what you're talking about. You're not talking about anything to do with zone, how a property is zoned or anything like that. It's a separate permitting process. Is that
Correct.
understanding correctly?
Yes, yeah, the MS4 is literally just managing stormwater on your site.
On the site.
And construction sites.
Right, yeah, on construction sites, any kind of site, it's just, that's all we do is how we're gonna manage the stormwater, so all of the Chipotle that's going on in this and that, Microsoft, they'll come up with a plan of here's how we're going to manage our stormwater, and then we review it and then pass it or have any changes.
So someone building a building or doing a giant parking lot or any of those things, that's what you're.
Correct, yes, miss.
Make sure they have silt fences, make sure their mud's not being dragged out into the highway, all those things.
Well, and to speak to sustainability, I mean, EPA says, black dirt is the number one pollutant in the United States.
Sediment, yes, sediment sure is.
So, I mean, MS4 is a huge part of it, and right now we're only looking at any site that's an acre of disturbance or more, but in some communities, they do half acre, they do smaller sites, even, I mean, even some communities do residential, from my understanding.
Some do, we don't. I mean, we do look at anything that's under an acre, I still put my eyes on it. A lot of places, you know, we've got 2 buildings going up in New Orleans, and they're both under an acre. They still have stormwater plans. So, yes, we're looking at bigger ones, the acres and more, but even small, I don't typically look at residential as much unless there's a problem. But even some of these smaller half-acre sites, we are still putting eyes on them.
Any other topics that we need to talk about today?
Not that I can think of.
I would like to go back to old business from last time. So we approved the website copy. Do you know if anything happened with that?
So, it is approved, it's ready to go on the website. I don't think I have access to the portion I need to have access to.
No, you don't. I think we just need to send that to Jess.
Yeah, and she's out on maternity leave, correct? So that's, I think, partially why we're kind of wrenching the system.
Okay. And is there anybody that we can send that to in her?
I'm sure Roscoe probably can handle it now.
Roscoe.
He left a little earlier.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, Bryson is his place, so. No, I'll talk to Roscoe about it tomorrow and see what we can do.
Okay.
Yep.
Todd, I believe on your new items, did you want to talk more about EV charging stations? Was there anything?
Just wondered if there was anything in the works, or what's going on. You know, I noticed not that very many in the Porte. You go to Michigan.
Yeah, no,
State,
we have
there's
4.
There's a bunch of them, and I don't know whether anything's happening.
We have 4, and I don't think all of them work currently. I know for a fact that the one at the plaza is intermittent. That's kind of the one I see the most, we get the most complaints about. It has power cycling issues, so it'll work sometimes and then it won't, and we have to go over and put the breaker on it and reset it essentially. The one at the water department needs to be moved because it no longer fits the space that they need over there. We're talking about moving it across the street. The one at Hessling Park, from my understanding, is broken and like physically broken, like one of the handles was broken off. I don't know if the other one works or not. And then the one at Civic, I have not had a chance to go look at it. I was planning on going with Jamie and kind of taking a look at it, at least getting it into an inventory so we know what the issues are. But we have received complaints about it.
Technically, the city owns those. I was just curious.
Yes, they are city-owned. We got them through a grant program. The grant funding didn't cover, so they're a company called ChargePoint was the manufacturer, and we were, with the funding, we were unable to pay to continuously be a part of their network, so we don't need to get continuous software updates. Essentially, it's a pass-through station now. You have to download the ChargePoint app to get access to it, but you don't have to pay any money to use them. They're free. You just pull up and charge. But that app is how you unlock the handles and get hooked up to them. At the previous meeting, I kind of talked about it. I think that the city would like to find some other source of funding that can help us install more stations, whether that be partnering with a company that does this, like ChargePoint, or potentially just installing our own stations. I got a little bit more information on it, but I don't have a whole lot. I think that's a good thing to talk about at the working session. Nick seems to think that it would be good for us to run it through you guys, though. I mean, to ask for your assistance on maybe finding the funding or helping us to come up with a plan for it, because we really don't know what we're going to do yet.
Okay. You know, we need more ordinance, probably. It's not really easy to decide what the best location is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see at least one EV here in the port every day now, so it's kind of crazy how fast the inventory of vehicles is changing.
You know, that one on at the plaza seems to be the busiest one, because the one with the water department's not conveniently located for,
Yeah.
you know, we've had somebody that works at LED using it before.
Yeah, when I was working with the water department, it seems like when they built the new hospital, there was a few doctors who would use it, but then it seems like they don't any longer, and maybe it's because it doesn't work well for them, I don't know.
Did they put any on site that you know of private?
Not that I know of. The only privately owned one here in town that I am aware of is I want to say the Ford dealership is what I was told. I don't know where Ford dealership would be out on Highway 2.
I was just gonna say, you know, some of the, if we had more dealerships in town, if they had to sell electric cars, then maybe they should have to pay a little bit, or put a little something in the fund to help, get a few more around town. It's good for them, you know, show them they can advertise that too, like, hey, that we do have stations around town.
In traveling, I've seen them at hotels, place, you know, several of them at locations, but I don't know whether any in the airport.
Not that I'm aware of.
Businesses like that have put them in, and so supermarkets and things like that too. Let's see back there.
Todd, from last meeting, water sustainability and future development, you were talking about new wells. Any news on those? I know they were over.
Well, the wells that we drilled have provided a gratification in the sense that they're going to be really excellent production wells. I mean, everything is good now, the point where they're needing the pipeline, so I think that's getting soon, the pipeline that'll deliver the water from the new wells to the Lake Street treatment plant. So that's the next big step, and also I believe they've figured out what structures that they're going to use, and they're going to commission those to be built, because they're for security purposes, we put a structure over them. And I think they're arriving at a good solution on that, so it'll be good. The sustainability of our water supply, and relies on having water. We gotta get these new wells in place, and I think that'll help a lot, because we're getting new customers.
Yeah.
So,
Is there any reason for us to talk about that in the future?
I think so. I had made some notes on that aspect of the community action plan, and I think when we get into that, you know, I think there's some definite areas for our committee or commission to engage our customers in a bunch of different activities. They can, you know, I was doing a little, using ChatGPT as my AI source to help put some things up for me, and I talked about the greenhouse gas effect of everybody using hot water for everything, you know, and you see the push list to use, there's a lot of things that you can use cold water for that we're just used to using hot, and that's a really big item in the sustainability, because, you know, we're taking the water, and, you know, there's energy to get the water, and then there's a lot of energy to heat it, and if you don't need to heat it, there's a lot of greenhouse gases to be mitigated, conserved, or diminished, or whatever. So, I think that there are quite a few items that I was working on when I was looking through that, you know, the inventory. And so I think there are a lot of areas for us to focus on in water sustainability that can make a difference.
Yeah, and you had talked about potentially engaging someone to maybe do a study on wellhead protection as well. Is that something you were?
We talked about it with respect to new developments like Microsoft, of you know, working with them to see what their sustainability plan is. What I've been able to find out so far is that they very much focus on that. So it's not going to be, we're not going to be hitting with something they're not prepared for. In fact, that they do that. So I think there will be a role for us working with them in the very near future. But there's, you know, water heating and fixtures. I know people say they can't get enough water out of these fixtures. Well, I don't have any problem with the low flow fixtures. You're surprised at how much water we do get with just a little opening, but they're pretty effective. They really had a big impact on, and we see it. We might have more users, but we pump less water because the users are much more efficient than they used to be. And I'm talking about my former job, I guess, but it definitely, there's a big difference in how household water use since these fixtures are required now. So.
Well, and another one, I know that Devin worked in building for a little while. The systems we have now where we can be alerted when people might have a leak in their home. I mean that helped. Yeah, a few times. I was remodeling my bathroom, and they called me about it.
That makes my heart glad. Just the fact that this tool allows us to help people mitigate leaks. our system detects it pretty quickly, and it's up to us then to try to get people notified. It's not a guaranteed thing, but it does find patterns, and once it finds a pattern, usually it looks like a leak, we're able to call people and minimize the lost water at the cost of the customer. So that was kind of in a way, that's a sustainability thing, the new metering, and it's the same, I think NIPSCO, they do it electronically, but now they're converting it into real time, and that'll be a tremendous help to them in load management and storms. They'll know right where the water, where the power is. They'll know instantly who's got good on the power, so. Any other items we got on our agenda, I think? We talked about the website, and I did some, I know I had my pet project that we talked about with them, and it's not one we can do it, a worldwide effort, but I was pondering how much energy is used by data centers because of the massive volume of pictures everybody takes with their digital cameras. You take 5 where you used to take 1. And you keep them, you got 5 almost identical, but you tend to hang on to them all. That looks to be about 20 to 30% or more of the capacity in data centers is people store their pictures.
Oh, like photos that people probably don't even.
I think I've only got that.
Yeah.
I think it's got huge numbers, and there's a lot of them are just close. You just got one just right, and that's the one you only really need. But it was just something, I wonder how much energy is used to maintain it, because pictures are huge amounts of data versus a spreadsheet's nothing. And so it ended up being possibly over 30%. So I don't know whether we can start that acorn and turn it into an oak tree, but it seems like if we can get people to delete pictures that they don't use or won't ever see again, then we can save a lot of energy and a lot of water.
We're gonna start an initiative to turn all pictures into ASCII images.
There you go.
Okay.
It's just all text.
Yeah, never mind.
I would like to go back to the working session and try and get a date that works for everybody. In 2 weeks, I will be available on Monday and then out of town the rest of the week.
It's very,
Correct. Yes.
and this is very voluntary, right? We're just trying to maybe just sit down. Okay, I'm supposed to be the one that shut up.
I can do Monday the night.
Jeff?
I can do the night, plus not too late, later in the evening, or earlier, I can do it.
I can do the 9th as well.
3, 4?
Okay, fine. As long as it's before 5:30.
About normal time, we plan for an hour at the library.
4 p.m.
The only thing I would have to say is like we might have to make that open to the public. Yeah, I think
It is
so.
now.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone knows. I'm just saying, I think where we might have just post about it, like post saying, hey, we're gonna have a working session this time, this date at this location. So.
Yeah, it's totally voluntary here, it's just if we can, because we can just sit across the table from each other and work on some stuff.
Yeah.
4 o'clock.
Up to you guys, doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, let's do 4
Is that enough time?
or 3:30. I mean, either works.
I could do 3:30, let's see what.
So 3:30?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I just have a meeting at 6 o'clock, so.
Confirm with everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I did my AI research there, that was the two, of course, the two biggest complaints are that you hear about noise and at the data centers, it's noise, and of course, it's the other things they use. Hopefully, that Microsoft, when I was doing this research, they are one of the better companies to deal with and better at making sure there's livable around their data centers. So I would hope that when we get into the woods a little bit, there a little bit more, we'll have better picture of what's going to happen there.
I've been to a few data centers, they're really not that loud. The one that I've been to.
Ones that are noisy, I heard of the Bitcoin mining, because they don't put, there's such narrow margins, they don't put as much into insulation on the buildings and setbacks and things like that.
The outsides are no different than driving by New York or.
So they're keeping the noise inside.
Yeah.
Any other items for our meeting tonight?
I think someone has a motion to adjourn.
Public comment, we don't have anybody from the public had that listed, so if members of the public want to come to this meeting, they're welcome.
It's the fourth.
Our next meeting will be on,
Yeah.
our next meeting is the 24th at 4 p.m. in this location. Anybody with a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Well, we got the motion in a second, so the meeting is adjourned.